First, though, Sinn Féin confessed that 2008 was a difficult year for the party, with what one leading spokeswoman called a slow pace of change. So how will the President gee up the faithful when he addresses the Ardèche this weekend? I'll be speaking to Gerry Adams in a moment, after Julia Paul hears some differing views on the party's direction.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds...
There's no doubting Sinn Féin's success. It's the third largest party on the island of Ireland and the second largest party in Northern Ireland. Martin McGuinness is the Deputy First Minister at Stormont, and the party holds seats in 4 different parliaments, although its MPs don't take their seats at Westminster. But how does a party founded on uniting Ireland square that ambition with sitting in government in Northern Ireland with the DUP, or in the Republic with its poor showing in the 2007 elections?
The future for Sinn Féin is very difficult to evaluate because there are so many different aspects of their agenda which are in some ways in conflict. The idea that you're moving to uproot the Northern Ireland state in time to have a united Ireland by 2016 doesn't seem realistic. On the other hand, if you shed that, then you lose some of the core support which you can traditionally count on in Republican heartlands. The idea of being a party which condemns the Southern establishment for having got the economy wrong sounds good initially, but when your own policies on the economy don't seem to catch all that many people's eye, that makes it more difficult to be credible in that regard.
Let me come back
I'm
to...
not here now, that's
Trying to be all things to all nationalist people is hard, especially when the DUP are quick to exploit any suggestion that Sinn Féin are giving way.
Whilst I'm not saying I would prefer to see Sinn Féin in government because they're a soft touch, I do believe that if the SDLP had more people there, we certainly wouldn't be able to get away with some things we have been able to get away with. That is,
like what?
But even in the Republican fold, there is criticism of the party. This book about Sinn Féin could be a rare beast. It's written by a party activist, and it's raising some difficult questions, not least about the party's economic policy. But the author says that's nothing new.
I actually think we have a lot more both internal debate and public debate than almost any other party in the island. Having said that, I think we do have a greater degree of party discipline and a greater degree of cohesion. Now, for me, it's always about striking a balance between those two things. I suppose it's a question of where you debate the important issues to you. If I have something to say about the party, I'll say it directly to party colleagues. I'll say it at public meetings, or indeed I'll write it in a book, such as a book that I've written. I'm not going to come to you if I want to criticise the party. That doesn't make any sense from my point of view.
But the problem is, not all debate, has been as welcome. When Squinter, the weekly column in the Andersonstown News, suggested that Gerry Adams should shoulder his share of the blame for the rising crime rates in West Belfast, it seemed a bold move. But the following week, the paper published an apology. So maybe voters in West Belfast are happy with what their Sinn Féin MLAs are doing.
Coming from a nationalist background, I would say that, certainly I think we could do better. But at the end of the day, the whole situation, as far as probably most of it is concerned, is about accommodation. It's about trying to sort of work with each other. And everybody's not going to get everything they want.
Would you still feel that Sinn Féin would represent people in this area, that they are still fighting for the best interests of people here?
Yes, they would be.
Although we've moved to a less violent politics in the north, we're still in Northern Ireland in a politics which is based on something being good for the other side being bad for you, as people generally would see it. So in that sense, if the DUP seem to be enjoying life, that's probably not considered good for most nationalists, Sinn Féin or SDLP. On the other hand, I think it's also true that those who criticise Sinn Féin for not being able to get all the different achievements that maybe grassroots voters would like, have to come up with some credible alternative from a nationalist or Republican point of view if they're going to have a serious alternative in place. And at the moment, I'm not sure where that would be.
But there are issues, traditional Republican issues, where Sinn Féin supporters have lost faith in the party's ability to deliver, and the party has lost their vote. Garage Carolyn is a broadcaster on the Irish language station Fulcher. He was also the founding editor of the Irish language daily newspaper La. But last year, La was forced to close when its funding from Forest na Gaeilge was withdrawn. Sinn Féin has 4 members on the board of the funding body. Garage says he won't vote Sinn Féin again.
I feel very strongly that politics is a two-way street, that we vote our political representatives into positions of power and influence but we expect them to stick up for us when the time comes. On this occasion, Sinn Féin did not stick up for the Irish speakers in Belfast. If we can't trust Sinn Féin with the Irish language, what can we trust them with?
The Ardèche will give the party a chance to showcase a new structure. But will that be enough to secure Sinn Féin's future?